The Porzingis ACL tear is nothing but terrible. Oh. Terrible for the Unicorn, terrible for the Knicks, terrible for Team LeBron All-Star Edition. That it happened on a dunk over Giannis makes it even terribler. So, Bill, how do you process the terriblest news out of sports last night?
I think it's just awful. And even coming from L.A. to see a New Yorker, this happened to the Knicks. This is bad for the league. It's bad. They were so much fun to watch. This is really heartbreaking. But I think now the Knicks need to turn around and say, listen, this season's done. Next season's probably done. It's going to take about a year to come back from this. They have what, 48 hours, 36 hours to their trade deadline? Trade Courtney Lee. Trade Enes Kanter. Trade everybody. Start to rebuild around Porzingis in 2019 because next year is done too. Really a sad situation.
You got to check your watch. That's like 21 and 3/4 hours they have left before the trade deadline. Cowlishaw?
I don't know if you need to do all that. I mean, he'll be back, I don't know when next year, but it's terrible for the league. And when you look at his numbers and, you know, more points than Dirk at this point in his career, more blocks than Dwight Howard at this point in his career, a lot of the country doesn't notice it because the Knicks don't participate in the playoffs, so you don't see this team except for on shows like this. But, yeah, it's terrible, a bad break for basketball all around.
I asked it with Boogie Cousins when he went out, and nobody thought he was going to get back to where he was with the ruptured Achilles. This is an ACL tear. Kristaps at 23-7 and 2 blocks right now. Does he ever get back to that level in your mind, Tim Cowlishaw?
Yes, I think, you know, the blocks are going to be the question. You know, can he do that? But you can block shots when you're 7'3" without getting too high off the ground. So I still think he can play.
Sarah, same question to you. Do you fear we'll never get to where we could have gotten with Porzingis and we've seen the best from him?
Yeah, unfortunately, the numbers don't bode well for anybody coming off of an ACL injury like that. I do think he's better off being the type of player he is who succeeds from outside the perimeter as opposed to a Derrick Rose type player who depends on his ability to explode off the court and in the paint. I am concerned about this. This is a guy who's already missed 33 games in his first 2 seasons. I know you love it when I mention the kinetic chain, but when you have a guy who's built like him, who has a multitude of injuries in different places, that leads you to believe that this isn't just one thing. This is a body that needs to be fixed, and I don't know if he'll come back ever.
Well, Monty, chances we've seen the best we're ever going to see from Porzingis, and when he comes back, he's a different player.
I mean, I think he can get back to 23-7 and 2. Like that level, I think that he can get back to. I mean, we saw Bernard King, even for a short period of time, get back to looking like Bernard King when he was with the Bullets. So I think he can get there. But what the top of the ceiling is has probably gone down just a little bit. Because, again, we're asking a 7'3" dude to play on the perimeter, but not just stand there and shoot, but trying to take guys off the dribble and everything else. The margins on that, I would think, are pretty thin. So there is a concern about what the ceiling is, but where we are now was never the ceiling.